Now, one thing CXC likes to bring is function values. And function values is something like they ask you to find f of 3, f of 5, etc. So remember that constants already have a value. The variables are the x's, the y's, a's, and b's. Whatever doesn't have a value, that is what you replace in the function. So we will go through some function values when we come to that in the question. What I want to touch on is composite function, because students have a little bit of difficulty when it comes to composite functions. What is a composite function? If we are given two functions, so we are given two and we can create one by combining these two functions in a particular way to form one. So a composite function is made up of two or more functions combined in a specific way to give another. Now, the composite functions are what they like to bring: f of g, g of f. But there is a specific sequence and a specific order in which you form the composite functions. You don't substitute whichever function you feel, right? So a composite function is generally a function that is written inside another function. So don't get confused just yet. You remember, as I said previously, the constants stay the same. The only replacement or substitution that you can do is where you see that variable x. That is the only way you can substitute anything in that function. Composition of a function is done by substituting one function into the other. So just like when you are baking a cake, you take a lot of ingredients, you merge them together in a bowl, you mix them together, and the product is a cake. So in our composite functions, we take two functions, we merge them in a specific way to give what we call a composite function, right? So for example, this here, f of g of x is a composite function of f and g. The composite function f of g of x is written and read as f of g. So f comes first, so we read it f of g. The function g of x is called the inner function, and the function f of x is called the outer function. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because if we have f of g of x, f is on the outside, so common sense will tell you we call that the outer function. And because g comes after f, we call that the inner function. Hence, we can read f of g of x as the function g in the inner function of the outer function. Well, that's a little too confusing. So here's what we're going to do. F of g of x. We are taking this function, which is called the inner function, and we are putting it in the outer function. If we have g of f of x, f is now called the inner, and we put it in the outer. So you will understand it a little bit better when we look at some examples. But composite functions are formed by a substitution. So we substitute one function in another. We do not replace any constants because constants are numbers and they already have a value. So let's make sense out of this. We have two functions. F of x is equal to x squared plus 6, and g of x is equal to 2x minus 1. We want to find f of g of x. So we know we put in the inner in the outer. So the first thing we do, we can write the first function, which is the f function. This is called a constant. You cannot replace that with anything. That is a number that has a value that stays by itself. The only replacement you can make is for x. and you are substituting one function in another. So wherever you see x, you are replacing this whole thing. So here I will get 2x minus 1 squared plus 6. This is f of g of x. Do you all understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what about if they ask for g of f? So if they ask for g of f, so let's do this in a different color. Now, my f function is the inner. So I'm putting inner into the outer. So I will start by writing the g function. This is a constant. This is a constant. That doesn't change. That already have a numerical value. So I could substitute for x, this whole thing. And this is what we call a composite function. A composite function is formed by two or more functions, but at this level, you all are only doing composite functions with two functions. So we take in two functions, combining it in a certain way to form one, right? So that was just a brief introduction as to what is to come today in today's class. So we are going to look at the past papers. CXC has identified composite functions. They have identified functions, so they are bringing function values. What you need to understand is that functions and relations comes in two questions, in question 4 and question 8. So what I'm doing today, I'm doing the question 4 aspect, and next week we will do question 8, where they are bringing graphs of functions. And the graphs of functions they are referring to is a quadratic function, where you have to identify the maximum and the minimum, right? So we will do that next week. So algebra comes in two questions, relations and functions comes in two questions. So if you all go through the broad topics, you're probably wondering why there are 8 topics and you're getting tested on 10 questions. It is because some of the topics are repeated. So algebra and relations and functions comes in 2 questions in the paper 2. So the first question we're going to look at, and I know some of you all have done it already, so that's why we're not going to use our booklet. We're going to test our knowledge and our ability as to how much we know and how much we have to reinforce. The question reads, 3 functions, f, g, and h are defined as f of x, g of x, h of x. Find the value of. Now, if you look at the marking scheme here, this is 1 mark. So that's not supposed to be too difficult. And this is what we call function values. Now, some students really don't have a clue as to what to do here. They see f and a half and they really don't know what to do. Well, the first thing we're going to start to do is write the function f of x. Now, if I write f of a half, you can clearly see that now x takes, a half takes the place of x. So you see the 2 and the minus 1, that already has a value. I cannot replace anything there. So that stays. And in place of x, I am going to put a half. So take it down, work it out, and get your answer. Go ahead. Now, we are all supposed to get that correct, because we are trying to maximize and to get as many marks as possible. The easiest thing to do is to put it in the calculator. It is only 1 mark, so it's probably only 1 line, and based on your accuracy, you'll get a mark. So there's no half a mark in CXC, right? It's either you get the mark or you don't get it. And to avoid any inconsistency in your values, please use the calculator and get the correct answer. If it's a 1 mark, it's either you get it correct or you get it wrong. So anybody has a value or has an answer?
Zero.
Yes. So the answer is 0. So we are going to put 0 on our dotted line. So don't make whoever is marking your paper search your whole paper for your answer, because it's hundreds of scripts we mark, and make it easy for the person marking your paper to find your answer. Remember, it's scanned and uploaded onto a computer, and marking hundreds of papers, you get tired, right? So don't make it a hunt to find your answer. Put your answer on the dotted line. That is what it's for. Now, the next one, we want to find h of 0. So we start off by writing h of x. Now, 5 is a number. 5 has a value. 5 stays. So in place of x, I am replacing it with 0. Take it down, work it out, find your answer. There is a function on the calculator called y to the power of x. So that will help you find 5 to the power of 0 if you don't know. Whenever we raise a number to 0, we are supposed to know what we will get, right? In case you all don't know, there's a function on the calculator, y to the power of x.
1.
Yes, the answer is 1. Again, put the answer in the dotted line, please. So whenever we raise any number, it could be 100, it could be 1. Whenever we raise a number to the power of 0, the answer is always 1. So there are certain things in mathematics that we are expected to know. This is one of them. If we don't know, that's fine. We do have the use of the calculator. We can put it in the calculator, and there's no reason why any of you should get that wrong. This is what we call function values. All right. Is anyone writing?
No, miss.
Right. So we're moving on. They bring in function values, right? So we're moving on. Now, for 2 marks, so we kind of cognizant on the fact that the values of the marks play an important role. It will tell us how much working we have to do. So this is worth 2 marks, and we are seeing g squared of -3. So we're not going to omit it. We are going to give it a try. So g squared of -3, this is g of -3. G squared is g of g. So it is worth 2 marks, because guess what? You have to do 2 steps to get the answer, right? So remember, this is a composite function. It is made up of 2 functions. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to work out the inner function. Step 1, work out g of -3. So let me write the g function here for you. It is 3x plus 2. So find for me g of -2. All right. So by now, you are supposed to know that we are going to replace x with -3. So 3 stays the same because that is a constant, -3 plus 2. If you have problems with directed numbers, please use the calculator and don't try to figure it out on your own. So we put in 3 open bracket -3 plus 2. The answer is -7. Did you all get it?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah,
Right.
ma'am.
So the question is unfinished. The examiner is going to award you 1 mark. The question is worth 2. So you know, step 2, we have to work out g of -7. So now replace x with -7. Go ahead. All right. So 3 stays the same. In place of x, I am putting -7 plus 2. So directed numbers pose to be a problem for a lot of students. If you are not in the category, if you don't know how to work it out, so the calculator is your friend. So we're going to put in the calculator 3 by -7 plus 2. The answer is -19. Did you all get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
You will be awarded your 2nd mark and you will get 2 marks, right? So this is the first case of composite functions. They go on to ask you to find g of f of x. So now the f of x is what we call the inner function. So we put in the inner in the outer. So we start by writing the functions. So f of x is equal to 2x minus 1 and g of x is 3x minus 2. So we are putting the inner, which is the f function, into the outer by method of substitution for the variable x. So you can start by writing the g function. And in place of the x now, you can replace x with the whole function. So go ahead. The question also said to simplify it. So you need to apply the distributive law and multiply each of the term inside the bracket by 3. It's 2 marks. You'll get 1 mark for working it out correctly. You'll get the 2nd mark for simplifying it.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes.
G of x is 3x plus 2.
3x plus 2. All right, thank you. Yeah. All right. 3x plus 2. All right, do we have an answer? Do we have an answer? Or are you still working? Now, if this is all that you can remember, and this is all that you can do to put the inner in the outer, that is fine. You will still be awarded 1 mark, right? So if you cannot multiply the bracket, that is fine, you will still get 1 mark. For those of you all who can use the distributive law, then you all will be awarded the 2nd mark. So 3 multiplied by 2x will give me 6x. 3 multiplied by -1 will give me -3 plus 2. Do you all have that?
Yes, Miss.
Now, if you cannot do directed numbers, use the calculator. Do not put what you think it is, right? And even if you can do the directed numbers, use the calculator to check it. So we have -3 plus 2. The answer is -1. So here it is 6x minus 1. Did you all get that?
Yeah, Miss.
And remember to put your answer on the dotted line. So we have g of f of x in the simplest form. Here we will be awarded our 2nd mark, giving us 2 marks in this question. Is anyone still writing?
No, Miss.
The next part is to find the inverse. We want to find g inverse of x. So we have a series of steps and it's worth 2 marks. To find the inverse, the first thing is step 1, let y be equal to f. Let y be equal to g of x. So y is equal to 3x plus 2. The second step, we want to make x the subject. So we circle the 3x. So it means that we must get rid of plus 2. The inverse of plus 2 is minus 2. Or we can simply take it and carry it on the other side. So we have y minus 2 is equal to 3x. I do not want 3x, but I want x. So the number in front of the x tells me how much I divide both sides by. And we know for an equation, whatever operation we do to one side, we do the same thing to the opposite side. So dividing by 3, this is going to cancel. X is y minus 2 over 3. And the final step, step 3, replace y with x. So this becomes x minus 2 over 3, and this is f inverse x. So the answer, x minus 2 over 3. So the inverse performs the opposite operation. So we have to eliminate plus 2 by subtracting 2, and we have to eliminate multiply by 3 by dividing by 3. So go ahead and take it up.
Finish, Miss.
All right. The next part says, hence or otherwise determine the value of x when G inverse x is 4. So they are telling you G inverse x is equal to 4. What is G inverse? Well, G inverse is the expression that we found in the previous part. So you are to put G inverse equal to 4 and solve for x. So you are cross multiplying. So x minus 2 multiplied by 1 is equal to 4 multiplied by 3. So x minus 2 is equal to 12. Work it out and find a number or find a value for x. Go ahead.
Progress.
Let me know when you will have a number for x. X is 12 plus 2. X is equal to 14. Did you all get that?
Yeah, Miss.
So whenever we have to move one term to the other side, the sign must change. So x is equal to 14. And you can check your answer. 14 minus 2 is 12. And 12 divided by 3 will give 4. So when you have a number, you can always check back to see if your answer is correct. Is anyone still writing? All right, let's go. We want to find the value of f of 9. So without me giving you any hint, you do f of 9 and you find f of g of minus 3. So step 1, work out g of minus 3. When you get the answer, you put in the inner in the outer. So step 2, you're working out f of the number that you get here. Go ahead, try it. All right, are you all finished?
Yes, miss.
So we want to find f of 9. So remember, the function is 1/3 x plus 4. So 1/3 stays as is. 4 stays as is. That doesn't change. That is already a number. And in place of x, we replace it with 9. Now, 1/3 of 9 is 3. So 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. The answer is 7. Did you all get it?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Right? Now, for the composite function, it is a two-step question. We cannot work it out just like f of 9 because a composite function means we merge in two functions to form one. So the first thing we must find is g of minus 3. And probably you're wondering, well, miss, why did you choose g first? Because g is the inner function. So this is my g function. So I write it to the side here, 3x over x plus 1. Now I have x in the numerator and I have x in the denominator. So this simply means that I need to replace x in the numerator and in the denominator. So 3 by minus 3, open bracket, minus 3 plus 1. So it has a numerator and a denominator. So the calculator is our best chance of getting it correct. We can multiply 3 by minus 3 to give minus 9. Divided by, so don't make any errors here. If you don't know, that's fine. You can use the calculator. Minus 3 plus 1 is negative 2. The two negatives are going to cancel and we will get 9 over 2. Did you all get it?
Yes, miss.
Now, the question works out to be f of 9 over 2 because we already work out this. This has a number, 9 over 2. So we have to work out f of 9 over 2. So 1/3, open bracket, 9 over 2 plus 4. Yes, it is fractions, but we have a calculator. So 1/3 multiplied by 9 over 2 will give us 1.5 plus 4. And when we add 1.5 to 4, we'll get 5 over 2 or 5.5. Did you all get it?
Yeah, miss.
So that is 2 and 1, 3 marks there, right? So if you didn't get it, that's fine. Take it out. The next part is, here's what they're asking, and we need to be mindful and we need to read the question. Find a value for x for which g of x is 5 over 2. So they are telling you g of x is 5 over 2. So we just cross multiply. G of x is 3x over x plus 1 is equal to 5 over 2. So we cross opposite ends of the diagonal and we find for x. So we are multiplying 3x by 2 and we are multiplying 5 by x plus 1. So 3x is being multiplied by 2 and 5 is being multiplied by x plus 1. So take it down and find a number for x. Remember, the distributive law says whatever we have on the outside is going to be distributed to the inside terms by multiplication. So what it means, we multiply each term inside the bracket by the term outside. And since we have the larger number of x on this side, we will move the smaller number of x and we will get the value of x. Anybody has a value for x?
Yes, Miss. 5.
Yes. 6x minus 5x is 1x. So x is 5. Could anybody else confirm that x is 5? Did anybody else get x is 5?
Yeah, miss.
Very good. So let me leave this up for a minute in case anybody wants to take it down, and we will move to the next question shortly. The function f is defined as f of x is 3 minus 2x. The diagram below shows a mapping diagram of the function f. Determine the value of a. So they already gave you values for 0, 1, and 2. You have to find a. So this is another way of asking you to find the function value by giving you a mapping diagram and asking you to find the value of f of x when x is 1. So find for me f of minus 1 by replacing, and the function is 3 minus 2x. Remember, there's a negative sign here and there's a negative sign there. So be very mindful of that. If you don't know what happens to two numbers when we multiply that are negative, please use the calculator. There's nothing wrong with that. And you will get 3 plus 2, which is 5. Did you all get that?
Yes, Miss.
So there's no reason why we are not supposed to get this 1 mark. The question was specific. They gave you a value for x. just like how a computer works. When we type in something in the browser on Google, that is our input. And when the browser gives us the information, that is called our output. So a function works in the same mannerism. You put in x and the output is either y or f of x, right? The next part, determine in the simplest form the inverse. So let's write the function f of x. F of x is 3 minus 2x. I am not going to do it as yet. I'm going to give you the steps and you try it. Step 1, let y be equal to f of x. So y is 3 minus 2x. Step 2, make x the subject. And step 3, replace y with x. So you try it. The first thing you may want to do is make x positive. So you may want to move this negative 2x to the opposite side, making it positive. And by doing so, you will have positive 2x. So try that first. right, we are supposed to get, we divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 3 minus y on 2. So f inverse of x is 3 minus x on 2. Did you all get that?
Yes, miss.
The next thing is we are going to find a composite function. So in order to work out this, we are expected to know that f squared is f of x. So we are going to replace the inner function in the outer function. So write f of x on the side here and write back the f function. And now you are going to replace x with this whole function. So try it. So negative 2 is going to be multiplied by 3. If you don't know, there is a plus or minus sign on the calculator, so you can use that for the negative. So you could press that, a negative will come up. You multiply 2 by 3, that will give you negative 6. So here we have 3 minus 6 and negative 2 multiplied by negative 2x. This will form a plus. So we get plus 4x. Now, we have to simplify our answer. So there's only one term in x, so that is 4x. We could use our calculator again, 3 minus 6 to give us minus 3. Did you all get that answer? 4x minus 3. Did you all get that? Did anybody get this? Or were you still working?
I was still looking this.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, work it out. Because we need to be able to do it for the exam. So take a couple minutes and work it out. The answer that we are looking for is 4x minus 3. Are you all finished now?
Yeah, miss.
So we have 3 minus 6 plus 4x. The answer is 4x minus 3. Now, this is a composite function. They ask you to find f of f inverse of 2. So this is the inner function. We put it in the outer function. So the first thing is, step 1, we have to work out f inverse of 2. So the f inverse function, this is it here. So f inverse x is 3x, 3 minus x on 2. So work that out first, and then we will continue. This is minus 2, right? Just take a note of that. Is f inverse of minus 2. Here is minus 2. All right. We are expected to have 3 minus minus 2 on 2. What answer did you all get? Three minus minus 2 on 2. What answer did you all get?
5/2, miss.
So f inverse of 2 is 5/2. So now the question reduces to f of 5/2. And the f function is 3 minus 2x. So 3 minus 2x, replace x with 5/2 and simplify your answer. You can put everything in the calculator and you will get the answer. Three minus 2 open bracket minus 5/2. This is going to cancel. It will reduce to 3 minus 2. What is the answer? 3 minus 5. What is the answer?
-2.
Minus 2. Did anybody else get minus 2?
Yeah, miss.
Right. So we have done some function values. We have done some inverse of the function. We have done some composite functions. So it is 3:15. We are going to take a break for 10 minutes. When we return, we will continue. Okay?
Okay.
So we are going to replace x first with 4, and then we are going to replace x with -4. All right, so we have 4 multiplied by 2 is 8 plus 7. 15 divided by 5, f of 4 is equal to 3. F of -4 minus 8 plus 7 over 5 minus 8 plus 7. If you don't know what it is, you can use the calculator. The answer is -1/5. So 3 minus 1/5, the answer is 2 4/5. Did you all get that?
Yes, miss.
All right.
Yes.
The next part of the question goes on to ask, find the value of x for which f of x equal to 9. So that is what we are going to start with. They are telling you the f function is equal to 9. So you're putting this function equal to 9, 2x plus 7 over 5. So really and truly, it's a matter of cross multiplication. So crossing opposite ends of the diagonal, 2x plus 7 is equal to 9 multiplied by 5. Work it out. want to make x the subject. So remember to move the +7 first and then divide by the coefficient or the number in front of the x. (2x plus 7 is equal to 9 by 5, that is 45. Now what do we do now? Well, we want to find the value of x, so we need to eliminate +7. By eliminating +7, we change it to -7. So 45 minus 7 is 38. The next step is to divide by the number in front of x. So x is equal to 19. Did you all get that?
Yes, Miss.
Very good. The next part, they say hence or otherwise determine the value of f inverse of 9. So we know the inverse is the opposite operation. So if we have x and we have f of x, when we input 19, the output is 9. So we take the input is 19 and the output is 9. That is the f of x function. So we, just like you put in something in your computer and you generate an output, the function does the same thing. The input is the domain, which is x, and the f of x is the range or the y. They are asking you for the inverse. So the inverse performs the opposite operation, and it's only 1 mark. So whereas the f of x takes 19 and produces 9, the inverse just reduces it. So the inverse takes 9 and it produces 19. So f inverse of 9 is 19. So let me go over that again. It is only 1 mark, which means that we are supposed to be able to hence or otherwise derive what it is. A function takes an input and generates an output. The inverse does the opposite. The inverse takes the output and generates back the input. So if the function goes in one direction, the inverse goes in the reverse direction. So in this particular question, the input was 90, right? And the answer was 9. The f of x value was 9. This was the answer. So it took 19 and it generated 9. The question asks you to find the inverse now of 9. So the inverse does the opposite of what the function is. So the inverse takes the 9 and it produces back 19. All right?
Yeah, Miss.
All right, we have one more outstanding. Now, in addition to relations and functions, they are bringing linear programming. So when I reach question 8, I will go a little more in depth in linear programming. That is the question where we have to formulate the inequalities and find the common region, right? All right, so given the function h of x, which is 2x plus 3, determine 5 minus x, right? Determine the value of x for which the function is undefined. Now, the function is undefined when we put this equation and we solve for x. So let me tell you what I mean. Put 5 minus x equal to 0. Solve for x. So solve for x. 5 minus x is 0. Solve for x. So since this is negative here, we will take this and move it across, making it positive. So x is equal to what value? X is equal to what value?
Five.
Yes. So you're probably thinking, well, Miss, what does it mean to be undefined? How much is 5 minus 5?
0.
0. So take your calculator and divide any number by 0 and see what you get. What appears on the display of the calculator? Any number divided by 0.
Error.
Error. So undefined means that x can be any value, but x cannot be 5. Because when x is 5, the denominator is 0, and that cannot exist. So the value of the function, or the value of x for which the function is undefined, is 5. The reason being, this denominator cannot be 0. If it is 0, we're getting an error on the calculator and we can't work out that. So that is what it means to be undefined. The function does not exist when x equals to 5. All right, let me know when you want to finish writing. The last part of today's class, we want to find the inverse. So let y be equal to h of x. So y is equal to 2x plus 3 over 5 minus x. So we're going to cross multiply. Y is being multiplied by 5 minus x. This is equal to 2x plus 3. So multiply each term by y, and I want you to make x the subject. So multiply 5 by x and minus x by y. Go ahead, try it. So we have 5y minus xy is equal to 2x plus 3. So if you want to make x the subject, we move in all the x's to one side and carry the 3 to the other side. So we have 5y minus 3 is equal to xy plus 2x. Remove the x and divide each term. Divide each term by what you have in the bracket. So x is a factor here and x is a factor there. So you could remove x. So factor out x, and that will give you one step closer to the answer. All right, so we have y plus 2. Did you all get that? Y plus 2 in the bracket?
Yes, miss.
Or 2 plus y. It doesn't matter, right? It's the same thing. So we want to make x the subject, so we divide by y plus 2. This is going to cancel. and x is 5y minus 3 over y plus 2. So therefore, f inverse of x is 5x minus 3 over x plus 2. Now, I don't think that they will bring a question as difficult as this one, but we can't take anything for granted, and we need to be very prepared for the exam. So this was question 4 of the CSEC past paper. They say they are bringing functions, they are bringing composite functions. So all of that was completed. And in our next class, which is tomorrow at 6:30, we are going on to question 5, which is measurement.